Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Locker Room Talk Uncut. Drew Garrison, Chad Penner out in the locker room bringing you all the latest in sports. Today we're going to go over the past week in the NFL. We're going to talk about Lamar Jackson's performance Monday night. We're going to get into the question, are the Bengals worse this year than they were last year? Then we're going to get into our NBA Finals preview. So, Chad, let's start off here with Monday night's game. Lamar Jackson, I want to talk about this. Not his best night.
Well, I mentioned this, I think, was it last week? When I said that the way to beat Lamar is to put him behind in points.
I remember you saying, I can't remember exactly when, but you did say that. I remember that in our group text last night. I said, Chad already said this. You gotta get a lead on him.
You have to, because if you look back to last year when the Browns beat them, because that's obviously the game that comes to mind to me, the Browns got up on them early and forced Lamar Jackson to have to throw. And Monday night, he couldn't hit the backside of a barn.
97 passing yards for the game for Lamar Jackson. That's got to be talked about because there's so much. There's people on Twitter and out here saying that he's as good or better than Patrick Mahomes.
Well, that discussion just had to be shot down. I mean,
it should have been shot down a year ago, but
there should have never even been a conversation.
Come on now, people.
I'm not trying to shit on Lamar. Listen, Lamar's last year's MVP. Lamar's good at what he does, but this is where you're like, this is where you don't want Lamar. If the Ravens get down 10 to 14 points, they're done. And I seen the stat. I don't know if you remember or not, the stats when the Ravens are losing at halftime in the Lamar Jackson era. I don't think they've won a game.
No, they haven't. And I saw the stat. Somebody said that Lamar didn't start or play all of those games, but since he got drafted, they are, I think, 0-8 or maybe now 0-9 since. When trailing
he might not have played, but some of those stats are on him, even if it's just 4 or 5.
I think most of them will be on him.
I mean, when we're talking about the greatest quarterbacks in the league, and he doesn't have one come from behind victory, after halftime. I mean, that right there to me is just like, okay, well, like I said though, Lamar does what he does, man. He's a running quarterback. They've built a system around him that's college ready, and it looks like it's going to be good in the NFL. He'll be able to do that probably his whole career. But what's going to happen is when you get a defense such as the Titans, I thought the Chiefs' defense played a great game.
Surprisingly, because the Chiefs' defense isn't really that good.
Right. And then last year, I remember watching Baltimore and Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh's defense has him figured out, and they only lost because, Mason Rudolph happened. But I'm not so sure that the Ravens are even the best team in the division. And now I think our division's a good division, that being the AFC North.
Do you think it's Pittsburgh?
I think it might be.
I want to ask something on that, though, because I saw a stat. The teams Pittsburgh have beaten this year
9.
haven't won a game
right,
this year.
0-9.
That's concerning to me, but they do look good.
I will say the Giants aren't good. They're probably a bottom 3 team.
The Giants and the Jets might fight for the number 1 pick.
Right. And then the second week, who'd they play week 2?
Houston.
No, Denver.
Yeah, they just beat Houston.
Just beat
right,
Houston.
yeah.
So they played Denver without Von Miller, without
They damn near
Drew
lost
Lock.
to Jeff Driscoll.
Yeah, they almost lost to Jeff Driscoll. Now, Houston last week, I think they are a better 0-3 team. I just think they've been handed the shit end of the stick because they played the Chiefs opening night, and they played Baltimore, and then they played Pittsburgh. So I think it's a matter of time before they knock off a couple wins. But like you said, the teams are 0-9, but I just think the defense of Pittsburgh plays Lamar Jackson really well. And then when you take out Mason Rudolph and add in Ben Roethlisberger, I think that I just think that they're probably the better team.
It's hard to bet against them as much as we'd probably want to, because
Definitely.
I think that first game Ben looked a little bit rusty, like he normally does.
Yeah,
because he doesn't play a lot of preseason, and now he's coming off the injury, weird off season. But yeah, that they can and probably will hit their stride. Their strength of schedule scares me a little bit right now. But back to the Ravens, I said that Lamar would take a step back this year. I've said that, all these episodes leading up to the start of the season, and the first couple of weeks didn't really look like that was the case. But then I guess it's not a step back because it's always been the thing, but it's like if you want to be the number one player in the NFL top 100, he was voted, and Mahomes knew that because he was fourth, and he threw that fourth touchdown pass Monday night, and he came off counting his fingers 1, 2, 3, 4. He
you could just
shit.
Mahomes. You could just tell like he was.
It was a statement game.
Yeah, there was no him cracking a joke and laughing on the sidelines. He was all business. He was like, "Wait, this guy better than me? Are you serious?" The only guy that should be mentioned with Pat Mahomes is Russell Wilson. And it's Mahomes, Russell Wilson, then there's a huge gap in my opinion. I
agree with
not saying that Lamar's not a good quarterback because like I said, he's good for what he does. He cannot come back though. He can't come from behind. His arm is not he's not talented enough. His arm isn't. And it's like kind of like the play that sticks out to me, and it's crazy that this play keeps sticking out, but right before halftime, the Chiefs got into a prevent defense to where they just dropped like 8 players back and had 3 on the line. The outside receiver ran a little 5-yard slant route in, right? Just going to get it and get yards, pad the stats, and Lamar missed him.
Bad.
He missed him bad. Like it didn't even hit his hands. That's how bad he missed him. It's like, how the hell does that happen? So, I'm not going to sit here and knock him and say he's bad, but it's just not what he can do. He cannot come from behind. You have to get up on the Ravens to beat the Ravens, though.
Well, and Baltimore is built around him in that way. They've got the stable of running backs. They're truly running back by committee, and it's fucking me over in fantasy football.
Me too, man.
But I mean, they're built to run the ball. They're going to give you Ingram. They're going to give you Dobbins. They're going to give you Gus Edwards. They like to use their tight ends a lot. Mark Andrews is pretty fucking good. But when they're playing a team like the Chiefs, I feel like the way the Baltimore is built can work against most teams.
Yeah.
If they can establish that run, control the clock, score first, play good defense, they're good. But when you're playing a team like a Patrick Mahomes who can just, dude, some of the throws he was making were just ridiculous.
Pat Mahomes is the real
and he does it
deal,
every week. So it's not like, oh, that was one crazy. He's got. I could probably put together a 15-minute highlight reel of just crazy-ass throws that like we've hardly ever seen before. So when they play that team, and that's the measuring stick in the AFC right now, it seemed like that was Baltimore's Super Bowl game. Like their fans, it seemed like, and I think the players probably fed into that a little bit. And I think for Pat Mahomes, it was like, all right, I'm going to show that this guy's not better than me, but like this isn't that big of a deal either.
Right, yeah. So, and I said that on Twitter before the game started. I feel like but it almost felt like even the Chiefs, I follow like about 5 Chiefs fans, and they all felt like, to me, that they were going to lose that game. And they just put the game on Pat Mahomes, and it was he's one of a kind, dude. He's ridiculous. That throw he threw to, I think it was Hardman off his back foot.
Oh my God.
Launched about 50 yards. No one, that's one throw that not even Russell Wilson's making.
It was effortless. The only person I think could maybe come close to that would be Rodgers, and maybe Rodgers a few years
Josh
ago.
Allen probably too, but just because I don't know if the accuracy would have been there, but his arm would get it there. But yeah, man, I think the Chiefs are just so far ahead of anybody in the AFC, it ain't funny.
And we were both wrong on that game. You said Ravens win big.
Yeah.
I said Chiefs win in a close one, and we were both wrong. The Chiefs.
I actually went on Twitter and apologized to Patrick Mahomes. Did you see it?
No, I didn't see it.
Oh, yeah, I apologized to him, and I hope he sees it because, I told him that, I hope he accepts my apology. And then maybe after this $1 billion contract, maybe he can come to Cleveland. I just wanted to put it out there.
Hey, I've made several Twitter apologies, so I get that. And Patrick Mahomes announced yesterday with his fiance that they are expecting a baby. So she said, we're going to get this baby out first. Whether we get divorced or not, you're paying me child support forever, motherfucker.
Yeah,
Half a billion.
Can't blame her.
So yeah, that was a eye-opening experience. I think it confirmed some things that I thought about Lamar, and I'm not going to write him off and say that he sucks or anything like that because he's a hell of a quarterback. In the NFL, you are going to have to throw to win football games. It's just the way it is.
As a quarterback, most definitely.
And he has yet to prove to me that he can. So that's something to follow going forward, I guess. And we can get into, your Cleveland Browns taking on the Washington football team.
Don't go there.
This past week.
So hard not to say Redskins, man.
I've been calling them the Redskins
come
for
on.
30 years.
I don't know. We won't go there today, but yeah, man. Here's the one thing I want to say about Cleveland before I start making it sound like Cleveland's going to win a Super Bowl, okay? There are very few teams that have an identity, and the Browns have an identity, right? Would you agree with that?
I would agree with that, yeah.
Like, they are a running football team this year. So this is the first time the Browns have recorded back-to-back 30-point games since 2010. You know the running back then. Who was it?
Peyton Hillis, right?
Peyton Hillis. I don't know if you remember the two games, but back then we got very few wins. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So this is back-to-back when it was Peyton Hillis, Colt McCoy, and they beat...
Was this the Saints and the Patriots?
They beat the Sox
I remember
off,
that
yeah, they
stretch.
beat the Sox off of both of them.
I remember
vividly.
It might be the happiest I've ever seen you.
Yeah, Peyton Hillis against the Patriots, and then I remember the punt return again, or the fake punt with Hodges.
Oh, dude, he ran like 65 yards.
Yeah, and he looked like a running back. But like I said, man, they have an identity, you know, and they've got it to where Baker can just make the throws and almost just be a game manager, you know, where a majority of his throws are coming out of the pocket. You know,
where they should.
That's where he's good at. You know, he only had 156 passing yards, but he only had to throw the ball 20 times. And I'm okay with that. The reason that I'm okay with that is look at two teams that stick out from last year. Look at the Tennessee Titans. They ran the ball with Derrick Henry. They were in the AFC Championship game. And then look at Jimmy Garoppolo. That Kyle Shanahan is what Stefanski runs. You know, you run the ball, you play defense, even though we don't play defense. We haven't gotten to that part yet.
You're getting there.
But they have an identity, man. And, you know, they should beat in my opinion, they should have beat the Bengals. They did. They should have beat Washington. They did. Dwayne Haskins, by the way, looked terrible.
Yikes.
He's just throwing balls right to us. This game against Dallas is going to be telling about the Browns, man. This is. I'm looking forward to this.
Is that a 4:00 game this week?
No, I think it's a 1:00 game.
Oh, really?
But it's going to be telling. It's going to tell me where the Browns are at right now because they've had a few games to, you know, like I said, find their identity, figure out who they are. They've done that. Now they got to stop. I mean, and we always shit on Dak Prescott, man, but he just threw for 400 yards, and they're lighting it up. I mean, they're 1-2. They could easily be 0-3, but they could also be 3-0. So it's going to be an interesting game.
Yeah, that is one that I look forward to watching, and I still think Dak sucks, but I don't know, man. I didn't get to see the whole Browns game. I started out the day. I had the Bengals on, the Browns on, and the Steelers on. I didn't get to watch the end of the Browns game, but it's pretty damn hard to lose a football game when you force 5 turnovers.
Yeah.
I mean, you
well,
almost
especially if you can capitalize
by
off of
default.
them.
Yeah. So, looking at that, they definitely have their identity. We had said this all offseason when we got in here. The way that offense is going to work is you're going to run the ball first. You're going to get Baker set up and play action. You're going to keep him in the pocket. It looks like his footwork has gotten a little bit better.
Yeah. Now, I still am seeing things from Baker, but I almost want to bring that up when we talk about the Bengals because there's a point that I want to make that I think that you'll agree with.
Okay, we can say that. We can actually probably get into the Bengals game now, right? I mean,
let's talk about it. Talk about your Bengals. So they tie. They tie with the Eagles.
The Bengals have tied.
It was like 3 times.
3 times since 2013. That's got to be a high. That's got to be a record.
Yeah.
What the?
And
fuck?
I'm not gonna. It's early. We're recording early on a Wednesday, so I don't want to be too mean. But the whole game was a shit show.
Yeah.
I mean,
not good.
And I'm gonna stick by this, man. There's no way Burrow's playing 16 games with that offensive line.
It's not looking like
he got he got rocked, and that's just not fair of Zach Taylor, and I think it falls on him.
That one hit that he took where he came out of the game for a minute though, that was bullshit.
Man, that was
he didn't have to do that.
Yeah, no,
but it was a fucking big hit.
Yeah,
he got flagged for it and everything.
Right, I understand you want to hit the quarterback, You know, you want to hit the quarterback anytime you can. That's your job.
Well, the ball was gone. There was another guy on the ground behind Burrow's legs, and that dude had plenty of time. He might have made contact, but he had time to pull up and not fucking throw that shoulder into him like that. I can't remember who that was.
Yeah. So before we get in the game, let me make that comparison real quick.
Yeah, what do you got here?
So Baker's rookie season, when I think Bengals fans, I remember some of the biggest Baker haters that I know. After his rookie season, we all came into there. There's a lot of us that thought he might win the MVP the following year, his sophomore year, right?
I drank the Kool-Aid a little bit. I can't remember.
What happened to him, though? Freddie Kitchens is what happened to him.
Freddie Bathrooms.
And some of the throws, I don't know if you remember the throw against the Panthers that Baker made to Jarvis where he was strapped on him. I mean,
corner of the end zone?
Yeah. Some of the throws that you see, you haven't really seen that from Baker, and here's why I believe that happened. Last year, he didn't have a line. He definitely didn't have a left tackle. And it almost taught him that entire season that he needed to evade the pocket. Even when there was no pressure, he wanted to leave the pocket because he kept getting hit. There was times he didn't want to step up and make his throws because he knew if he stepped up, he was going to get hit. The accuracy almost disappeared. Because he's not stepping in the pocket. Here's what for you guys. If they don't fix that offensive line, I'm worried that this could happen to Joe Burrow. Because right now, and I think I said this on Twitter, right now you have LSU Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow looks good outside of the deep ball, in my opinion. I don't know how many did he hit any on. Did you guys have any big hitters? I don't know. I don't remember any.
Oh, I mean, deep balls are considered over 20 yards.
Over 20 yards.
I think he might have had a couple. I was watching the game on my phone. I was doing a Pee Wee game that day, so I didn't get to see every single play. But regardless, the deep ball needs work.
So I think right now you have LSU Joe Burrow outside of the deep ball, which still you take. Although that's one of his big things. He needs to get that deep ball going. But I worry that he might end up like Baker next year, and then the coach that comes in, if they were to get a new coach, is going to have to fix him, like Stefanski's having to do with Baker, and that's fix him from what Freddie Kitchens did to him.
Yeah.
So he's getting hit. He's been sacked 14 times. Didn't he get sacked 8 times on Sunday?
Yeah, he's on pace for I think 75.
I mean,
stacks.
This is how you.
Oh, breaking news! Sorry. Steelers-Titans this weekend has been postponed.
Wow.
Because of the COVID outbreak. We'll stay on the Bengals, but that just came through. It is 11:13 on Wednesday morning.
Yeah, we'll jump into that after this.
Cut you off, but yeah.
No. So he's getting hit. He's getting hit. You just don't want to see him turn bad because there's no protection there.
He's on pace for some good things and some bad. He's breaking like rookie records and shit, but not all of them are good. He shouldn't have broken the rookie pass attempt records against the Browns. Like, come on, Zach, what are you doing? He's on pace to tie the rookie record for touchdown passes of Baker Mayfield.
Yep.
But he also is on pace to get sacked 75 times.
Wow.
That reminds me of David Carr. You remember David Carr from the Texans when they first came around? He was supposed to be the next real deal.
Right.
I think he probably could have been pretty good, but he just got the shit beat out of him constantly all the time. That's in danger of happening too. I just don't understand. Zach Taylor is wrong for so many reasons. A, he doubled down on this offensive line all offseason.
He tried to sell everyone.
This is the group we're going to use, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, the whole time, I'm like, that scares me. I don't like it. I don't know why, but whatever. So
I came in here and laughed at it.
There's problem number one. Problem number two, it doesn't look like he's running this offense like he has a great offensive line. He's dropping Burrow back 5 wide on first down. I noticed last week, first down, Joe Mixon's on the sideline. We're near midfield. He comes out and goes 5 wide. I tweeted, I was like, why the fuck are you doing this? Then he called a timeout. He came out of that timeout in a 5 wide set again.
And what is the thing where
people I fucked up the other night and argued with a blue check mark on Twitter. But people are saying, well, with that line, he's not going to run the ball very well. Okay, that's fine. I get that to an extent, but Mixon's also put up back-to-back 1,100-yard seasons behind the same line.
Right.
Now, I know it usually takes him a little bit later in the season to come on. That's fine, but you have to try. It's not even about – it's always about winning, but right now, the way that this season is going, it's not about – okay, running the ball is not going to give us the best chance to win right now. I get it. I know that they're always going to try to win the game. But this season has to be about keeping Joe Burrow upright. He's the next 10 years of your franchise.
Yeah, until you
if all things go well.
Yeah.
So he's not even trying. He's going 5 wide. He's rolling them out. He's running these read options at the goal line. And Burrow's made some great plays. He's made some very good throws, rolling to his right, getting out of pressure. He's also had some plays where he tries that spin move that would have worked in college, and it's not working in the NFL.
Right. But that's a learning curve for him.
So, and that poses the question, are the Bengals worse now than they were last year? You had asked that, and I'm starting to think about it, and I said, okay, well, record-wise, technically no, but that was almost to be expected last year. You almost knew.
Yeah.
New coach, new system. He's going to evaluate the roster. He's going to see who he wants there, who he doesn't, blah, 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 blah. You kind of write that off. Okay, that's fine. But now they should have taken a much bigger step further than they have. And right now, if you look at the record, and that's what matters at the end of the day, the step up that they've made from this point last year is half a game because they tied and didn't lose. They didn't start 0-3 like they did last year. They're in a worse place this year in week 3 than they were last year in week 3. I agree with that. They're in a worse place.
They do have Joe Burrow. They do have their future on their team. So I don't think that it's as bad as last year. Now, I think somehow the line is worse. And for the record, I don't and I'm not going to give him too much shit and call him a bust yet, but Jonah Williams don't even look good.
I would argue that
he's given up sacks every game.
He looks rough in first halves, and he seems to look better in second halves most of the year, and I don't understand why that is. But I think he definitely has given up a sack in each game. I haven't seen that number, but just watching the games, I would totally believe it.
I don't know. I don't think you're getting as much pressure on the left side as you are the right, but he definitely – I remember watching a couple plays last week where he had nothing. He had nothing for the defensive end,
and he's effectively a rookie too. He's going through.
So in a left tackle, I'm not going to call him a bust, but he's definitely not living up to the potential yet. Kind of back to what you were saying. When the Bengals go 5 wide, what is that when, Zach Taylor goes five wide, Burrow rolls out to the right, all the receivers go to the right. There were so many Eagles players there. And Burrow had nothing. And every time he did that, he got hit on the sidelines. Every time. I think he ran it 2 or 3 times. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. And a couple of those looked like they were a little
here's my thing, though. You're trying to get him out of the pocket. We mentioned that last week, where if you get him out of the pocket, he could probably make a great throw. It's Zach.
Zach.
It's not going 5 wide and rolling him out where he still doesn't have protection, dude. Okay? You need to run it on first down. You should run it every first down from here on out, okay? Get in a single back or a single back formation where you can still have double tight ends and receivers on the field. Hand the ball to Mixon. Let him get, even if he gets a yard or 2. Then the next play, fake a handoff, Zach. Fake a fucking handoff. And then roll Joe Burrow out to where the defense thinks Joe Burrow might have the ball. Okay, when we're sitting here telling you to roll out of the pocket, it's not getting 5 wide, Zach.
No, it's not at all. Don't put tight ends on Derek Barnett either.
Oh my God,
Dude, Drew Sample got fucked.
Oh man, that was crazy. And here's my last thing I want to hit on the Bengals. You haven't even played a good defense yet. You still got Baltimore twice. You still got Pittsburgh twice. And he's been sacked 14 times.
Thanks for ruining my fucking day because I hadn't even thought about that.
Did you watch what the Pittsburgh defense did to a bad line against the New York Giants? Saquon Barkley couldn't even get going.
Yeah, they're blitzing on like 51% of passing downs or something. They're just bringing
Joe Burrow. When they play the Steelers, I feel bad for Joe Burrow. But
he should probably catch COVID.
You're in like the 20s, so I think Who they start out the season with? Oh, the Chargers. No, the Chargers did have a good defense, so I take that back.
Yeah, I mean they're good.
But the Browns and the Eagles don't really have that great of defenses. Okay, you still got Pittsburgh twice. You got Houston, or not Houston, but you got Baltimore twice. And
I think we do play Houston. I can't remember.
So, and there's some other defenses in there too. So, I don't know, man. I would hate to see Joe Burrow get hurt over Zach Taylor. That's
just
kind
time
of what
to call it what it is.
I've been telling you, man. I will be fucking scared to death if the Bengals somehow land Eric Bieniemy. If those of you don't know him, that is the offensive coordinator for the Chiefs. He's Andy Reid's right-hand man, and he's helped make Patrick Mahomes what he is.
Well, yeah,
it's a match made in heaven.
He's worked under Reid for years. It's not like, oh, well, Zach Taylor spent 2 years like tossing balls to Sean McVay in practice, and he was supposed to be this offensive guru, right? So what's the deal here? I don't think he was ever the guru he sold the Bengals on himself being. But
I don't know if he even had to sell him on it.
Going into Sunday, or looking back at Sunday, he only targeted tight ends twice against the Eagles defense, and they had allowed 4 touchdowns by tight ends in the first 2 weeks. And I posted this on Facebook. I mean, he was in Miami. He was like an assistant quarterbacks coach, got up to offensive coordinator, didn't do good. Went to the University of Cincinnati, was the offensive coordinator for a year, didn't work out. Then he worked his way up for 2 years with the Rams. His resume is not even good. I bought into the hire when it happened, and I think it was more so because I just wanted Marvin Lewis gone so bad.
Yeah,
and you even said, you were like, okay, that's a good hire, I guess, because they're going away from the old defensive guy, get the young offensive guy. You can understand the thought process, and at that point, I was like, okay, it's something new. Fuck it,
right?
Like,
we gotta try. I mean, it's 16 years later.
But we're 19 games in now, and he's
He might be worse than Marvin.
2-17 or 2-16-1. So
you got to go get a real offensive guru, man. So you got to go get Eric, I think that Josh McDaniels would consider it just because the quarterback is there.
Well, you brought that up, and I was like, no way. He declined an interview with the Bengals the year they hired Zach Taylor. But Joe Burrow will attract better quality head coaches.
Absolutely.
And maybe the fact that you just saw Mike Brown spend a bunch of money.
Absolutely.
Will entice somebody a little bit more too. So I'd be in on McDaniels. I
agree 100% with that statement. We agree there.
I've said a lot of Joe Brady, but he's only been in the NFL for a year. I mean, it worked with him at LSU, but
I don't like that.
The Panthers' offense isn't looking too great. So
you got to go get a guy that you know can do the job.
It's just going to come down to how much control that they would be willing to concede. The front office would be willing to concede to the coach. If it gets to that point, it should. You are on a ticking clock. We said this the other night. The clock is 100% ticking. I said this isn't Andy Dalton and Marvin Lewis together for the 9th year. This is your franchise quarterback, a $36 million investment he doesn't really look like a rookie all that much. He looks like he's comfortable. He belongs there. Joe Burrow belongs to be a starting quarterback in the NFL. I think that's probably been confirmed through 3 weeks. Now, Zach Taylor has confirmed that he does not need to be a head coach. He's in over his head, and the Bengals need to understand that this isn't, okay, we'll give Andy and Marvin another 3 years to see if they can get it going like they have been before.
Can't do
this
that.
Is a franchise quarterback that you invested $36 million and a number 1 overall pick in.
When Andy Dalton came into the league, he went to the playoffs his first year because he had the surrounding pieces around him.
He had a great line.
Yeah. So exactly. You had Whitworth and you had
Zeitler's there.
You had a great offensive line. This isn't the case, and you can't treat it like it's the same case. I've watched the Browns ruin so many quarterbacks, and not where they didn't even have a chance. And Joe Burrow is going to be a hell of a quarterback if he gets the right coach under him and he gets some protection. I even went out as far and said this. It is so bad to where the Bengals need to consider, and you brought the name up, Zeitler, getting Zeitler back. Throw a second, throw a third at the Giants for Zeitler.
They have the money.
Don't give up your first, but at this point you have to protect Joe Burrow before he does what Baker did. And he might not never do that, but there's a chance that he could. No matter what, you want to protect him, okay? Because he's one big hit away from being like, fuck this. and just leaving the pocket and like, I'm not getting hit.
And I fucked up because I argued with a blue check mark on Twitter, Benjamin Albright. He said, giving up on your season after week 3 is for losers. And I replied, not if you're 0-2-1 and your head coach is this guy, and it's a picture of Zach Taylor having a meltdown. And people fucking blew my mentions up, man. And I had always been against what the Browns do, and this isn't a shot at the Browns, but I've always said when it came to them keeping Marvin Lewis, and I was trying to like rationalize it in my brain, I was like, okay, well, you don't want to keep bringing in a new coach every year, no stability, blah, blah, blah. But somebody replied, this dude is Swaggy Dud 2X. So if you hear this, you don't know what you're talking about, bro. He said, see, and that's why y'all always lose. You can't keep putting a new coach in year and hope things work. Now you got a new playbook every year and new system. You got to give coaches time. Rome wasn't built in a day. I replied to him, I said, dog, do you know anything about the Bengals? Marvin Lewis was there for 16 years.
Yeah, the Bengals are the one team not switching coaches every year.
And people are like, oh, well, it's not Zach Taylor's fault. The offensive line sucks. Well, yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it
and
is.
He also
tried
got
to sell
rid,
you on him.
He also inherited a pretty damn good offensive line coach in Frank Pollock that had been around the Bengals for a while, and he got rid of him for Jim Turner, who's got a lot of controversy that surrounds his name. And it's looked like shit. So he hired the O-line coach. He got rid of the old one that was actually pretty damn good over his tenure, and he tried to sell. He sold everybody on this line all offseason saying that, they have confidence in it. And let's not forget, the Bengals put a piece of paper in front of Bobby Hart that offered him $21 million and gave him the opportunity to sign it.
Yeah. Yeah, how's that happen?
We were talking in a group chat the other night, and I was like, as much as I want to trust the Bengals, they spent the money, they did this, they did that, things are looking different. As much as I want to believe in that, I still have to remember that it wasn't that long ago that they sat a $21 million contract on the table in front of Bobby Hart and handed him a fucking pen.
Yeah, and I agree 100% with that, too. But let's talk about this, the money that they spent. The money that they spent doesn't look good.
Well, for one,
the defensive line looks old. They look.
No, Geno Atkins makes a very big difference.
Yeah,
there's nobody on that roster.
And Dunlap played a little bit better this week, but against a very bad offensive line. You still don't have linebackers. We talked about that.
Oh well.
They're not on the field a lot. I mean,
Logan Wilson is getting pretty good pretty quick.
And then the secondary. I don't know. It's just not coming together yet.
Well, here's my thing on that.
They definitely can't stop the run. We've seen that.
On the secondary, DJ Reader has looked pretty good, I think, overall. I think he's been worth the investment.
Yeah, Reader's been good.
Going to the secondary, though.
I watched Mackenzie Alexander get burnt.
Yeah. And that he's not like a big.
And they also don't have Trey Waynes.
He got a 1-year deal for, like $4 million or something. It's not a big deal. But on the Trey Waynes signing, they overpaid for Trey Waynes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And not only is he hurt, but they could have, and maybe it'll be different if he gets on the field this year. I don't think he will. If he does, it'll be late, and it's probably going to be so late in the season they don't even fuck with it. But I feel like you could have kept Drake Kirkpatrick. I
was about to say, meanwhile, Drake Kirkpatrick's in Arizona balling.
He's playing damn good. I think you could have kept Drake Kirkpatrick on his deal, maybe even renegotiated this deal. Because Drake Kirkpatrick, I talked to him. He'll fucking message me back on Instagram and shit. Because I sent him a thing man, maybe they should just bring you back after Alexander got down. He's like, I'm gone, man. He's like, I love Cincinnati. Maybe I'll come back someday. I live here in the offseason. He's a cool dude. But you could have kept him, maybe even renegotiated his deal, because I think he liked Cincinnati enough to where he probably would have. Or kept it as it is and then spent that money on the offensive line instead of dropping him, getting his money, and then giving it all to Trey Waynes, who I think is the same fucking guy.
Yeah.
And Kirkpatrick had his flaws, don't get me wrong, but you could have used that money on the offensive line. The Von Bell signing, I was really excited about. It hasn't looked all that great. As you said, Alexander got burned up. I think Reader has looked good. I think if Atkins would be there you would see an improvement. I know he's older. Dunlap does look to be showing his age a little bit, and that sucks because I really, really like Carlos Dunlap. Carter Lawson looked to kind of come on a little bit more last week, but it was a bad line. So the edge rush is something that you didn't think was going to be an issue, I guess, going into this year.
Yeah, it's a big
and it
issue.
Looks like something that they need to address. But first and foremost, if they draft this year and they draft 7 offensive linemen, I won't be upset.
To win.
rounds 1 through 7. O-line, every fucking
Before
round.
we move on here, you still have to look back and wonder, like, man, why was Andrew Whitworth not re-signed when he wanted to be here?
They have spent more money with Cordy Glenn and Jonah Williams and all this shit that they've spent more money trying to replace Andrew Whitworth than it would have cost them to just pay him. And he wanted to retire a Bengal.
Yep.
And when they let him walk, I said, this was before the podcast and all this shit, I said he deserves a thank you deal regardless.
Absolutely.
Give him a thank you deal, even if you don't think he's going to perform all the way through it. And he's in L.A. right now, he's one of the highest graded offensive linemen in the league.
Yep. And then the last thing here is they should have backed a Brinks truck up to the door of Jack Conklin. I mean,
Hasn't he been hurt?
No, he didn't play against the Bengals, but he played last week.
Oh, is he
he
playing
actually
good?
he actually was active. Chris Hubbard stepped in and didn't miss a beat.
Is he playing good though? Is Conklin?
Oh yeah. Jack Conklin's playing great.
Their right guard situation's fucking terrible too. It's actually pretty funny because I'm looking
the
through.
left guard, isn't the left guard one of the actual bright spots, or is that center?
Trey Hopkins is solid. He's not gonna wow you or anything. Billy Price has been playing some left guard. He hasn't looked great. He hasn't looked terrible. The left side of the line has been not good, but not as horrible as the right side. John Jerry's playing right guard. Bobby Hart's playing right tackle, and it's just a fucking disaster. It's a complete fucking utter disaster. And I was looking at my Facebook memories from 1 year ago today. I posted that anyone 250 pounds or heavier that isn't happy with their current job should please go to Paul Brown Stadium and try out for the position of any offensive lineman. You have a shot, I promise. I would like to update you guys today that this position is still available. So please go inquire, and I would start probably anybody listening to this over Bobby Hart. Fuck Bobby Hart forever.
Well, I think we agree that the Bengals need to fix the line. So here, let's do this. Let's stay on the NFL. We got a solid week coming up. It looks like that the Steelers and the Titans just got postponed. Maybe that's going to be pushed to Monday. I guess that's the possibility. 2-3-0 teams there. We'll have to see how that goes.
And our pick'em.
Yeah.
Our pick'em is up to about $150 already. Meant to get to that at the top of the show. Totally forgot. Sorry about that. But get your picks in. We had $360 get paid out last week. I think this is the week we break $400.
DC.
So yeah, DC coming through with a big win. There was 3 or 4 people really in it going into Monday night. These tiebreakers have been mattering. So get your picks into us. The links are on our Facebook, Instagram,
I've actually
Twitter.
never seen my wife into a football game the way she was Sunday, because had the Saints have won, she would have been up top, and she actually made the picks herself.
Oh, dude, I know. My girlfriend gets in it, and poor girl finishes damn near every week, almost last. But she's like yelling at these games. I'm like, why do you give a shit about, like Minnesota and Detroit? She's like, well, I picked fucking Detroit. I'm like, oh, okay. It's getting them into it.
She got that upset pick. Yeah, that's what I like too, because she's like, oh, God, I'll be watching that. But she actually had Baltimore picked because I'd been talking about it, so she wouldn't have won anyway. But so let's get in here to these picks real quick, man. And we don't like to give all of our picks out anymore because we actually get into the pick'ems ourselves.
Yeah, you motherfuckers might be listening.
Up the money and all that. So what we've decided to do every week is
can't say that I'm sorry. You can't say that I'm cheating because I fucking was awful last week. I think I was like 22nd.
You can't cheat now. You can see everybody's pick as soon as 1 o'clock at 1:01. You can see everybody's pick. There's no way of cheating.
Oh, you can? I didn't know that.
Yeah, you can. You can go out there and see everybody. Now you can't see. Now, say a game hasn't started.
You can't see
that
right?
pick.
Well, that's good because you don't know.
You don't want to switch or all that. But so let's jump into it. We said each week now, though, we're going to do an upset pick, and a lock pick. So let's start with our lock pick.
The Jags.
Who you got as your lock pick here, man? I think there's a couple this week. Last week was tough. In my Survivor, I went with the Colts, and they did kick the shit out of the Jets. So that's I'm still alive, so I want you to help me out here, man. So who can we lock up this week?
I'm looking at a couple of different games, and I'm not saying this from a Survivor standpoint because I don't do Survivor picks, but I'm looking through the schedule, and there's one team that I can almost always think is my lock, and I think it's going to be Seattle over Miami.
That'd be your lock pick.
And
No, that's a good
Chris
pick.
Carson's out. I don't know how long. That's fucking me in fantasy.
He actually might play.
That play was dirty as fuck.
Oh, that was terrible. What the fuck was that? An alligator roll in somebody's knee?
And then somebody just dove
That's
in with his knee
ridiculous.
first.
That's
that was
ridiculous.
terrible.
Ridiculous.
But I just don't see any way in hell Miami beats Seattle.
So I'm actually going to save Seattle. So I'm not going with there. So I'm looking at two other ones, and I'll tell you where I'm leaning. So the first one's obvious for me. Ravens over Washington.
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
I think that they're, especially after a loss, I think the Ravens are going to kick the shit out of them. But actually, the game that I'm going to go with as a lock pick this week, I'm actually going the Los Angeles Rams over the New York Giants. I think I'm going to use the Rams this week.
The Rams look good.
They do look good. The offense, it actually looks back to a Sean McVay offense.
Yeah,
and they're not missing Gurley.
Maybe Zach Taylor could give him a call.
Henderson running the ball for him, and Jared Goff throwing it around. Robert Woods looks good. Cooper Kupp looks good. I mean, that's just a...
And it was a big year for
They have
Goff.
a really good left tackle, too.
Oh, yeah. What's that guy's name? Fuck!
All right, so that's what we would lock in this week. What about your upset pick this week? Who'd you upset pick? You actually took the Giants over the 49ers last week, and the Giants got their teeth kicked in.
Yeah, and Nick Mullins played quarterback.
Nate Mullins, I believe, right? Nate?
I have no fucking
right,
idea.
exactly. I went with Houston over Pittsburgh, and it looked good for about 3 quarters.
Yeah, it looked good for a minute. I'm going to do it. Fuck it. Is the Bengals beating the Jaguars an upset?
I think
Joey B's
I think
first
either
win?
way is an upset. So I think you could go Jags.
The Jags are better than the Bengals right now, right? They're record-wise.
I
Fuck
would-
it. Give me the Bengals. Joe Burrow's going to finally get his first win Sunday. I'm going to fucking
So
watch.
that's actually what I like to call a push, because anytime you're the home team in the NFL, Vegas gives you 3 points. So the Bengals are actually favored 3 points.
Hell yeah.
because
Fat Randy with a field
so
goal.
if this was a neutral playing site, then it would be 0. So
The Bengals have fucked me every week. So I'm like, oh, they're going to beat Philly. I pick them in the pick 'em, and they fucking lose. Oh, they're going to beat the Chargers. Jesus Christ.
all right, so my upset pick here, man, and I actually considered the Bengals actually being the upset pick here. I'm going to be a homer just like you. The Cleveland Browns over the Dallas Cowboys is my upset pick.
I think that I guess that could be considered an upset.
That's definitely an upset.
I just
pick.
don't fucking believe in Dallas. I don't believe in Dak Prescott. I just don't believe in him. But
I actually agree with your upset pick too. I think I might go Bengals this week.
I mean, it's got to happen at some point, right?
If it don't happen here, where's it happen?
Well, if anybody could fuck this one up, it's Zach Taylor.
Don't they play the Jets and the Giants?
They got the Giants for sure. I'm not sure about the Jets.
I know the
don't
Browns
schedule in
plays.
front of them.
The Browns definitely play the Jets.
Then we probably do too.
No, you know what? Maybe you don't. Maybe you don't.
Huh. Well, maybe not.
Because who's in that division? The Bills,
The Bills,
the Jets,
the
Dolphins, and the Pats.
and the Patriots. Yeah. So
the Patriots are going to get Baltimore, right? And then the Jets finished last in that division, right?
that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
We do. We have the Jets and the Giants back-to-back weeks. I know that for sure at the end of the week.
I'm gonna pull it up. I didn't have it in front of me there, so God damn it, hit the wrong button. So yeah, let's just go through the schedule. Fuck it. The Jaguars, that's where the win could come. They're playing the Ravens after that. That's not going to come there. They're playing the Colts there. It's probably not going to come there. Playing the Browns after that. They usually split, but this year it's probably not going to come there. The Titans. Oh,
The Browns run too well for
Derrick
the Bengals,
Henry.
man.
Yeah. The Titans, Derrick Henry. The Steelers, not happening. Washington, maybe. So out of that division,
Washington's defensive line's good.
they play Washington.
No, that's
Giants.
the NFC. That's the NFC East. I was talking about the AFC.
The AFC East, you've got Miami in there. That's the only team from that division.
Okay, so you guys got Miami. That's right. So you guys got Miami. We got the Jets because that's how it happens. AFC North play each team. The AFC North plays one team in the AFC East. So you guys got Miami. We got the Jets. The Steelers are going to get the Bills, right? Yeah, the Steelers will get the Bills.
Yes.
And then Baltimore will get New England. New England looks good.
Cam Newton is fitting
They beat
in with Bill
beat up
Belichick.
on Las Vegas.
Yeah, they're
Weird saying.
who looked good. Yeah, Philly or not Philly.
I'll tell you a game to watch this week, in my opinion. The Chiefs are on a high after that Ravens. Now they go play Belichick.
Oh yeah,
I think that I almost went there. Just saying.
Cam and Bill is working right now. It's weird. It's working.
Is it Cam and Bill, or is it Josh McDaniels and Cam?
Well, that's probably the more
Because
important.
usually McDaniels runs with that offense. That's
Yeah.
another reason why I say send his ass to Cincinnati. That's a good second option.
Yeah, I could see it being more McDaniels because I could see like Cam Newton walking through the Patriots facility in one of those like blouses that he's wearing that like looks
Bill
like maybe
Belichick is like, what the fuck?
and his hair with that like big thing sticking up, and Belichick just kind of looks at him and growls, and then McDaniels is like, all right, dude, come here, we're gonna put the game plan in.
Right.
Bill might not even talk to
And
Cam.
then after that, Bill makes a Subway commercial.
Right, which is fucking weird. How the hell they get him in a commercial?
You can't even get his ass in Madden.
Hey, dude, on commercials though, dude, these Baker Mayfield, it's like insurance. They call it at home.
Progressive, right?
Yeah, they call it at home Baker Mayfield. Dude, I saw another one this weekend, a new one. It was fucking hilarious. They said he shouldn't do commercials. In the fucking Hulu commercial where it's like Baker Mayfield's face on some
And
small guy's
Saquon's
body,
face,
he's like,
yeah.
"Yeah, you guys said I shouldn't do so many commercials."
I'm just glad you can make the commercial as long as you're working, and he worked his ass off this offseason. You can tell by the way he looks, but
I didn't mean to get on that tangent.
that's
but
all right.
yeah.
What we got next, man? We going to the NBA
Tonight, for the first time in 10 years, my Los Angeles Lakers are playing in the NBA Finals against the Miami Heat and Jimmy Buckets. I know that
Whoa. Did you really just do that?
What?
You just dissed Tyler Hero.
Hey, Tyler Hero's a baller.
When you say Miami Heat, you say Miami Heat and Tyler Hero.
I think Jimmy Buckets is still the guy there. But, hey, Tyler Hero's a fucking baller,
He's a baller, dude.
I love Tyler Hero.
Yeah, he's fun to watch.
But going in tonight,
What do you think, man? First off, what's your prediction? I know you're
Lakers
going
in 6.
Lakers in 6.
I think it's in 6. I think they give Miami 2 games. It wouldn't shock me if it went 7, but I think Lakers in 6.
I'm going to go right now, and I always change my pick, but in the NBA. But right now, I would say Lakers in 7.
I want it to go 7, and
That'd be
here's
fun.
why.
Oh, because why? He's going to wear their jerseys.
Game 2, they're wearing the Mamba
Jesus
jerseys.
Christ. Does the jersey matter?
And if it goes Game 7, they'll wear the Mamba jersey. It absolutely matters. If you listen to Anthony Davis's interview, it absolutely matters. It's a mentality thing. It's a mindset thing
Jesus
for him.
Christ. You're in the NBA Finals. The jersey.
He did an interview. He said, we never want to lose, but we know we can't lose in these jerseys. We're letting Kobe down.
Fuck.
It matters. Right now, they need shit like that. They're in a bubble. And I've said this before. I know you had agreed with it. I don't know if anything that you have seen has changed your opinion on it. But this ring, whoever wins it, be it Miami or L.A., it doesn't mean less to me at all.
No.
These teams have been locked away from their families.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be dramatic because like LeBron's got like a fucking apartment he's living in. It's nice as shit. It's nicer than anywhere I've ever lived in my life. So, but they're kind of like locked in. It's almost. I don't want to use prison as an excuse because there's like golf and wine and all that shit. But they're locked away. Like LeBron hasn't seen his kids. I don't know why they're not there. He posted on Instagram the other day about how much he missed them. I don't know what the reasoning is, but these guys have been locked away from their families.
Probably because Bronny's smoking pot and don't want to go.
Why do you post that on Instagram, dude? Like, what are you doing?
You're right.
But so I think that the bubble mentality, it's weird because the Lakers are an older team, and the old teams are the ones that were getting bounced quick, and the young teams were raring to go because the older guys that mentally they got kids, they got wives, and they've been locked up. These dudes might not have had sex since July. That's fucking terrible. That's awful. So going into this, it means more obviously because you want to win the title the year Kobe Bryant died. And I know that that's died off now. That happened back in January. People have forgotten about it. But Lakers fans, true Lakers fans, still want that. I think the players still want that a lot. I think it means a good amount to the franchise. Now, the people that just joined when LeBron got here that are getting ready to root against the team they used to like, probably don't.
And it's funny watching those same people talk about Kobe.
You don't get that. You don't get that. I mean, I guess maybe because like he impacted the game and everybody, felt Kobe's impact on the game or whatever. But yeah. You can't be like, oh, I just got here a couple years ago, but
we got to do this for Kobe.
I've been fucking Kobe since I was fucking 8 years old. So there's that, but it's going to be a good matchup. I think the Heat are probably going to be the best defensive team the Lakers have played in the playoffs.
Yeah, definitely.
Bam can play with AD a little bit. I want to see if he can do it for a whole game or a whole series.
Not even a little bit. He can play with AD.
Yeah, but they said that about Jokic too.
Yeah, but Jokic can't guard fucking K. Can't, dude. You're talking about the same guy that just locked up Giannis.
Giannis isn't as polished as Anthony Davis.
Anthony Davis has the shot that he can shoot over Bam, but the thing is not only can Bam guard AD, but he can also guard LeBron. And if need be, while he's guarding AD, Jimmy Buckets can guard LeBron. With also being that said, if both are out, Jay Crowder can stay in front of LeBron. So like you said, this is where it gets interesting because this is definitely the best defensive team that the Lakers have played, in my opinion. Now, I was on record coming in here last week or the week before saying Denver matched up real well against the Lakers, and I thought they did. I think you agreed with that too. But I do think that the Heat match up the best that the Lakers have had to play so far. Now, with that being said, I still say the Lakers in 7. I just think LeBron and the AD combos maybe just a little too much.
Don't ever disrespect the Kobe jerseys in here again.
But the Heat are going to give them all they want, man.
Yeah, I think the key to this series is going to be, can the Lakers effectively control the game with their big lineup? Like Dwight Howard has been starting, and it's been a good move by Vogel. I have tweeted my apology to Dwight Howard. I was against that when he signed. But
Danny Green still looks like shit.
Danny Green is a fucking loser. I mean, he hits a shot. He's playing
Rondo's been
better. Nice. But the key to this series is going to be the Lakers effectively scoring and controlling the game with their big lineup in. And that's going to be getting rebounds, obviously, second chance points, not letting Miami heat up shooting the ball when they have to play their bigs to match up with AD and Dwight. Where the Lakers can get in trouble is if they allow Miami to get it to a point where they're playing small. If Miami starts playing small ball, they've got more quality small ball type players on their roster than the Lakers do. Iguodala is solid. Hero, obviously. Duncan Robinson.
I forgot about Iggy being able to play defense too.
Iggy's 6 straight finals. Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, Crowder is nice in his own right.
They have a nice lineup.
They have the better small.
Dragic. Is that how you say his name?
Goran Dragic.
Dragic, yeah.
100% going to be a Laker next year.
He's nice. He's nice.
They've got a good small ball lineup.
Not
so
if Chris Paul's there.
I'm not going to say that their small ball would beat the Lakers because the Lakers still have the 2 best players in the series on their team. But it would make for a much more interesting games, I think, and it could keep Miami hanging around longer. If the Lakers can impose their will with size against Miami and keep those shooters and floor spacers on the bench because they have to match up with Bam or putting in they were talking about maybe Myers Leonard coming back in. If you put Myers Leonard on AD, you're fucked. Like, come on.
How many games have the Lakers lost in the playoff bubble?
In the playoffs, 3. It's been a gentleman's sweep.
Isn't that
series
what Miami's at too, right? So Miami
they may have lost
Miami
less.
swept Indiana.
Well, see, the Lakers
then
have gone.
They beat the Bucks in 5, and then they just played Boston. What did Boston get 1
6.
or 2?
I think that went 6.
Okay, so then they've lost 3 games as well.
Yeah. So
you got the 2 hottest teams outside of the Suns who didn't make it in the playoffs. That's been in the bubble. But yeah, man, I'm actually excited for this, and I haven't been excited for basketball in a while. But
well, it's time. Okay, it's time for me to formally, and you're not going to like this, but I'm going to try to preface it in a way that makes sense. it is my time to apologize to on-court LeBron James. LeBron James, the basketball player between the lines when the ball's tipped up.
I know.
I've been real critical of LeBron, but
it's okay to be critical when they do something stupid.
He's turned it on in the playoffs, man, and he's willed this team to where they are. Off the court, different story. We've had that discussion, but when LeBron James steps onto the court in between the lines, there is still not a player in the NBA that's better. Kawhi thing. Kawhi wanted no fucking smoke with Jamal Murray. When Jamal Murray was just torching him, Kawhi stood back. LeBron's like, give me Murray. I got him one-on-one. LeBron's defense has been impeccable. He went down the stretch when it came time to close that game out. He said, put me on Murray. I got him.
Agreed. And like I've always said, on-court LeBron's great. You want on-court LeBron. Off-court LeBron just told everybody to vote last night after watching the shit show. How could you tell anyone to vote after watching that last night?
Dude,
that was true. Fucking a shit show. Dude. And then you see all these NBA players, we got to vote. Like, vote for that?
Yeah, I mean, tell people to vote all you want, I guess, but we all know who they're telling you to vote for.
Right. I'm just saying. That's just not a good way to approach it. But
they can use their platform however they want, whether I agree with it or not. That's fine. I root for the Lakers, and right now, there's not a basketball player in the NBA that is better than LeBron James, and he proved it. He proved it in the playoffs.
Now, we'll see next year when KD comes back. I mean, as far as best player in the league, I agree LeBron's the best player in the league.
Should LeBron have been the MVP of the league this year?
Yeah.
Should Anthony Davis have been the defensive player of the year this year?
Probably.
80 more blocks, 30 more steals than Giannis.
Probably.
And that's neither here nor there. We've already had that discussion.
But I'm back to the series, though, man. I'm excited for this, man.
I'm not wearing anything but a Kobe jersey.
I really think Miami can give them all they want, and I just said Lakers in 7.
Yeah,
I feel like this is a great matchup, man.
And I just want to see if LeBron does it. Or not just LeBron, the Lakers. I want to see if the Lakers do it again. Because we said, oh, shit, Portland's going to match up real well. Boom, 5 games, you're done. Oh, shit, Houston's going to match up real well. 5 games, you're done. Oh, shit, but Denver's hot. They're coming. 5 games, you're done. So, can the Lakers do it again?
And you're right. But looking back on that, the Portland thing was just the Lakers were playing shitty.
Yeah, they were playing shitty. Portland was healthy.
I think from the beginning we said who's going to guard LeBron James.
And we landed series. I was even guilty of it. The recency bias,
right? And then you play Houston, who is a small ball team. Where
your boy the Beard, you wanted him.
Oh, absolutely. He's one of my favorite players.
5 games,
and you were like, who's going to guard him? So or who's going to be able to guard Beard? But it was really who was going to guard LeBron, who was going to guard Anthony Davis, and then Denver. Denver was one where I thought they matched up real well, but I think the Heat match up even better. Like I said, though, Lakers in 7 because they have the two best players. I think the Lakers have the best players, obviously the 2 best players, as to where Miami has a better team. I feel like their bench is better.
Miami's got a better coach too. Eric Spoelstra.
Eric Spoelstra's great.
Got to give him his flowers.
Yeah. So they got the coaching. They got in my opinion, they got the bench. As long as the Lakers don't run it crazy. What I mean, like, as long as, like, Bron and AD isn't sitting too long.
Hey, man, and the fucking Lakers closed that game out, and they couldn't have done it without the play of Alex fucking Caruso, the bald Mamba.
Yeah.
Fucking GOAT.
And I feel like, even though the Lakers are an older team, I almost feel like Miami has the vets, too. You know what I mean? Like,
they got Jimmy, they got Iggy, Crowder. There's
a lot of people there who can guard LeBron.
Yeah.
Now will they be able to guard him this year? In this bubble, the way he's playing. Well, we'll find out tonight at 9:00.
I mean, I think their best option to guard him primarily is still Butler. Crowder can for stretches, but you're not going to put Crowder on LeBron for a whole game, and I think LeBron would eventually find.
You don't have to put Crowder on LeBron the entire game. Like we just said, you got Crowder, you have Iggy, you have Jimmy Buckets, and you have Bam.
Bam's going to be, I think, primarily focused on AD.
Unless AD isn't in the game.
And that's the thing. When AD's on the floor, can Bam stay with him because AD can go hit that outside shot? We have watched Anthony Davis morph into, like, crazy levels because I was always saying he's got to get better on double teams. He's splitting double teams. He's hitting. He is really blossoming in these playoffs, and this is what he came to LA to do. He had like one playoff win his whole career with New Orleans.
So whose path is more impressive? Which path is more impressive, the Lakers' path or the Heat's path? So the Lakers played the Blazers, the Rockets, the Nuggets, and Miami played the Pacers, the Bucks, the Celtics.
I think the Lakers have played better rosters all throughout. I think the Lakers have played Portland, who's got a better roster than Indiana. They played Houston, who I could argue has a better roster than Milwaukee outside of Giannis, but Giannis is a big deal. The Celtics are pretty solid, and then the Nuggets have their two guys, and they had to rely on like a Jeremy Grant game to get them, extend that series out. So it's fairly close.
I would have it 2-1 Miami. I would say I think Portland. I would probably take Portland over the Pacers.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I would take. I would definitely. I mean, who wouldn't take the Bucks over Houston?
I think that's
Bucks. Oh, dude,
that's
the
close.
Bucks were the 1 seed. And
and they got bounced again.
And I'm taking the Celtics over the Nuggets. Just you got Jason Tatum, you got Brown there. You got Kemba.
You could probably sell me on either path being harder.
I think it's going to be good, man. They both only lost 3 games.
They played the better coach.
It's going 7. I'm telling you, I think it's going 7. I think it's going to be fun.
I could see it, and I'm all for a 7-game series.
Do the Lakers have to win tonight?
No, because this could easily be a LeBron feel-out game.
Right.
There was no feel-out game last series.
I think it's more important tonight for the Heat to win tonight.
Yeah, it means more to the Heat if they win tonight. LeBron didn't have to have a feel-out game against Denver because, Portland was a new team coming into the bubble. Everybody got healthy, so we had to feel them out. Houston had switched to small ball in like February, kind of right before things shut down, so we had to feel that out. There was nothing to feel out about Denver. They just got hot one game. Jeremy Grant had a game he'll probably never have again.
Yeah.
And who's the other guy? I can't remember his name.
Who, Porter?
No, it's not Porter. I said that. I said Vogel was playing that series, right? He said, make Michael Porter the one that has to beat you, and he's not going to do it.
No, not yet.
So I think that at the end of the day, the paths are similar. You could tell me that the Heat had the better path. They played better coaches, I think, than the Lakers did.
Definitely.
Rosters are there. And you got to give them credit for knocking off the 1 seed, even though I think that Milwaukee is a fucking fraud for the second year in a row.
Don't give me the excuse Giannis got hurt. They were losing either way.
Yeah. That wouldn't have mattered. And when you say going 7, I could see it. I think 6, but the NBA has a funny way of seeming to make series go 7 when they want them to, don't they? It seems like,
they can.
Oh, maybe that guy gets a technical and, he gets a suspension, the Draymond thing.
No, don't give me that bullshit.
No, I'm not knocking. I mean, they still fucking lied. 73-9, and they fucking lied.
Even if Draymond played Game 6, I was there. I was in the atmosphere. They weren't winning.
I remember you saying that. You're like,
they weren't winning. Listen, for me, it's Browns, Buckeyes, Duke, Cavs. I would say maybe Cavs over Duke. And I remember when Derek Anderson was the Browns quarterback and we went 10-6 and didn't miss the playoffs. So I've been to a packed house in Cleveland, but I've been to Game 6 of the NBA championship for the Cavs. Me and Austin went, and there was nothing like it.
You said as soon as you walked into the arena.
When we walked into the arena, I got these just shivers down my spine, and I was like, "There's no fucking way they're winning this." And they dominated the entire game. The fucking Warriors didn't have a chance, man. You just got the feeling as soon as you pulled up.
And if it wasn't for COVID, I would be attending a finals game in LA this year. That's not true. I don't have enough money for that. But I'm going to attend a Lakers fucking game in LA one day, even though California is a giant shithole, and I don't know why anybody would actually want to go there. But
who would want to live there?
So I am not going to wear anything but Kobe jerseys. I've said that all playoffs. There's no AD jersey coming out. This is Kobe, Mamba mentality, focus, and it's going to tip off tonight. I think it's going to be every other night, right?
Yeah,
they're going to keep that same schedule.
I think so.
So we're going to go Wednesday, Friday.
Well, because they don't have to travel.
Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. So we got a lot coming on, and it's a great time to be a sports fan if you're going to follow the NBA. Because
every other day.
We had Monday Night Football. We had a great sports debate
last night, which was just,
I don't care what side you're on there, man. That was a
dude, that
shit
shit
show.
was fucking hilarious. Yeah, I don't care who you're voting for. That shit was just funny. And we got the finals tonight. We got Thursday night football tomorrow. We got NBA finals Friday night. So
Yeah.
we've got everything going this week. There's something to entertain you every night.
Hey, get your money in, get your picks in for this pick 'em poll. Let's see, 2 weeks ago, the winner won 340. Last week, DC won 360. And like Drew said, I'm with him. I think this might get up over 400 this week, and somebody needs to turn $10 into $400.
I'm going to post it up. I'll get another post out here today. I'll get you reminders all the way up till Thursday. I'll send out emails to anybody that's in. We got some new people already joined up this week. So get your picks in, have some fun with us, and when you win, share the post and talk shit about everybody that you beat.
And maybe buy us a drink or Roosters or something. You know?
Yeah, and I like barbecue chicken wings if you win.
And he likes Roosters now.
It's not better than Frickers, although.
But is it good?
You said you had a really bad Frickers experience a couple weeks ago, didn't you?
Oh, fucking terrible, dude.
Gotta go to Centerville.
Yeah, you got to go to the Centerville one.
So we will be back in with the reaction to everything, and I'm thinking tonight maybe I do a little Instagram story takeover on our podcast page, and I just talk shit.
Oh, shit.
All night long about everything.
Oh, man.
You think people want to just watch me yell into a camera for a couple
I do.
hours?
I'm going to be probably pretty bored at work. So
all right. So we'll do that. I'll get in there tonight. I'll get everything going, and we'll engage with you guys on the finals. And once again, we had some questions come in this week. I do want to get to those. Only a couple.
We were about to shut down.
Yeah, I posted it today. We ended up recording a little bit earlier than we thought. First question comes from Pat Irvin, buddy that I coach football with. He texted to me. He said, question for your show. He said, are all corner CB cornerbacks made out of glass, or is it just the Browns? The Browns have a lot of corner injuries.
I don't know what the hell happened with Denzel. So something with the groin. Greedy hasn't played it down yet. I mean, it's crazy to me that a guy who lacerated his liver, Kevin Johnson, who the Browns got, is back before these fuckers.
Yeah, what?
So he lacerated his liver. A lot of time that ends the season, and he's back in. And Greedy hasn't played a game over his shoulder. And Denzel went out last week over a groin injury that he had somehow got in practice. So he only played like 40% of the snaps last week. But there hasn't been any update. So it's almost just like it was almost like they were like, okay, let's take him out because we don't feel like we need him right here. So hopefully Denzel's all right. Hopefully we get Greedy back. But we've and Pat's right. We haven't even seen Denzel Ward and fucking Greedy Williams play together much.
Yeah,
and that's terrible, man. Because as much as I like Denzel Ward, your best availability is how do I say that?
Your best ability is
availability.
That's a tongue twister. I fucked that up a lot.
So hopefully those guys can get on and get on the field together.
And another question from Aaron Lakes. And Aaron Lakes is taking credit for my Pee Wee coaching career. He told me that I was a part of his coaching tree. I don't know what that really means, but he sent me a document and shit. And Aaron Lakes, alleged Madden cheater. Aaron, if you hear this, I love you, dude. He said, why didn't the Browns sign Earl Thomas? Is he that much of an asshole?
He's got to be. He's got to be that much of an asshole. I mean, if you can't be on the Ravens,
yeah, no shit.
You know what I mean? And they cut you because you can't stop beefing with your own players. I mean, and the Browns are at that point to where they don't need those type of guys. I mean, Odell gets portrayed as one of those guys, but he's really not, because the thing about Odell too is Jay Glazer actually came out. Anytime Jay Glazer comes out, you know it's the truth because he don't come out a lot. And he says Odell Beckham wants to stay in Cleveland. He doesn't want to be traded or anything. This is where he wants to be. So you got to get guys that want to be there and guys that aren't going to ruin the locker room. I mean, Aaron's a Browns fan, Pat's a Browns fan, so we've had enough of those guys. All right, we can't have those guys. We had Josh Gordon for way too long, and just bad guys inside the locker room. So the last thing we wanted to do was add Earl Thomas to that. Plus, he plays free safety where Tavari Thomas actually plays and has looked really, really good. And the bigger question is, why haven't they got the guy from Jacksonville on the field? The guy that
Harrison?
they trade, Harrison. They haven't got Harrison on the field they had big plans for Grant Delpit. That's where the problem is.
Oh yeah,
they had him everywhere, hybrid
line.
You know what I mean? So, but the bigger question is, why is Harrison not seeing the field? But I can understand why you would want Earl Thomas, because this secondary isn't looking good with the injuries and all that shit. So can't bring in a guy that's going to cause problems, though.
Yeah, I understand that. He had a workout scheduled with the Houston Texans, but this COVID outbreak that the NFL's seeing, I guess, has put that on hold. So we'll monitor that. And that's all the questions we got. Like I said, I just posted that up today. I thought we were going to record around now, so we got into it a little bit earlier. They got Chad working the night shift out here. So we will be back in next week. Full NFL recap. Let's see. We'll have 3 finals games done by the time we get back in here next. Tonight, Friday, and Sunday. So we'll have a good feel of how that's going.
Tuesday too, because we don't. So.
Oh yeah. Well, shit, this motherfucker might be over.
Might be a winner.
And if the Lakers have won in 4, prepare for it to be a long episode. So thanks everybody for tuning in. This is Chad and Drew signing off. Locker Room Talk Uncut. Fuck Zach Taylor.